outlet, The Independent, decided to publish an article on me titled, "Why Becoming Self-Obsessed is the Last Thing This Generation Needs." And in a world where I know everyday people are gonna have these negative opinions about you, your confidence, and your action of taking up space as you rightfully should, to the point where they just want to encourage you to be smaller and safer and more digestible to them to serve their needs, I am here to give you the confidence boost you need. Because even before this news article was published, I was already very aware of the negative perceptions of the word self-obsessed, which is why I make it my entire brand. I am here to challenge the narrative of it. I want to take away the negative ideas of being self-obsessed, obsessed about your life, about your happiness, about your confidence. And the truth is, and this is from my own lived experience and my journey from being the shy people pleaser girl who put everybody before herself, who didn't take the time to know herself enough to understand her standards and what served her, so everything and everyone would always walk all over her, to the self-obsessed, self-assured, secure, confident woman I am today with everything I want. Let me tell you, self-obsession is going to take you to the next level. It's going to make you happier, it's going to make you smarter, it's going to make you more successful, it's going to turn you into your dream woman. But we really live in a world where the news you read is even trying to make you less confident. And I quote, The Independent in that article said, "Joy is not a fundamental human right." They warn boundary setting makes you a callous asshole, and they say self-obsession worsens well-being. But the truth is, self-obsession has never been about selfishness. That is not what I preach. It's about self-protection, it's about self-preservation. And forget about the news for a second. Most people who are truly selfish want you to feel guilty for putting yourself first because it makes their lives harder. We already live in a world with so many problems, mental health being a huge one. So I shouldn't even have to make this video to make it very clear that prioritizing your own growth and well-being and self-esteem is the only way to reclaim control and happiness in your life. And this is exactly how you do it through my 5 laws of self-obsession. Before we jump right into it, I want to give you guys a really exciting announcement. I recently partnered up with Lion to create my very own Serenity edit, which are all of the jewelry pieces I am currently wearing, so that we can finally twin on all of the jewelry you guys have been seeing me wear every single day for years. And I have an amazing discount code you guys can use right here. So when you buy one jewelry piece, you will also get another one for free. That code is TAM2for1, and you can shop using my link below in the description. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to Squarespace, who are the sponsors of today's video. If you are currently in the era of trying to be the best version of yourself, to level up everything about you, especially your career, then you need to know what Squarespace is. It is an online website building platform that helps you stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or you're scaling your already successful business, Squarespace has a variety of different tools that can help you no matter where you are on your journey. As someone who has owned 3 businesses in her life by the age of 24, I feel like I am quite qualified to say it is a difficult process. And I wish I had these tools when I was starting many, many years ago. There was just so much knowledge that was lacking at that time, but now Squarespace has fully filled that gap. One of their most amazing tools is their integrated Squarespace SEO tools. Every website is optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, an auto-generated sitemap, and more, so that you can show up more often on search engines and bring in more ideal customers to get those sales that you want. SEO is so important, and I remember being like 6 months into my business and then slowly understanding what it was. But again, Squarespace is taking care of all of it for you. Talking about tools that I wish were available when I was starting my first few businesses, Squarespace now has an AI-enhanced website builder to make your life even easier. This is Blueprint AI, which helps you get a fully custom website in just a few steps, using basic information about your industry, goals, and personality to generate premium quality content and personalized design recommendations. Once you've got your business all set up, it is so important to be checking your analytics regularly to be making smarter decisions. This is something that I utilize constantly with my business self-obsessed journal. You can make smarter business decisions now using Squarespace's built-in intuitive analytics tools. You can review website traffic, learn where to focus your engagement, and track revenue from bookings, invoices, or product sales, all from one place. It's literally so easy and convenient, you are left with no excuses. So if your goal has been to try something new, to get outside of your comfort zone, to get in your entrepreneur bag, this is where you need to start. You guys can go to squarespace.com to start your free trial. And whenever you're free to launch, come back to this video and use my unique link, squarespace.com/tamcore. Write that down, remember that, because that link will get you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain whenever you're ready to launch. Now let's get straight into the laws of self-obsession. Number 1 is the mirror law. Because true self-obsession is centered around your self-perception. I will die on this hill. Self-perception is the key to everything. Any single time I get asked about when I was able to overcome something, or when was the changing moment that allowed me to be an entrepreneur or a content creator that finally got me success, my answer is always, I finally stepped away from self-doubt to self-confidence and believed that success was inevitably mine. That has been the consistent theme throughout my life that got me different results. It was all about the way that I saw myself that was mirrored in the reality that I was experiencing every single day. So, for example, it's very, very easy to just change your appearance. Definitely something that helps, you know? I mean, the outfit I put on every single day definitely is a step towards the identity I want to embody that day. However, you can't just stop there. It goes so much deeper into your core beliefs, your values, your inner critic, your inner cheerleader. You could look your best. You could even be adopting the actions of your most ideal self. But if you are still perceiving yourself as the person you've been this entire time, you will not get anywhere. And I think the easiest way to allow your self-perception to catch up to the new identity that you're embodying every day physically is for you to step outside of your comfort zone. You need to be trying new things because immediate discomfort will disrupt your old narrative. And that process right there then creates space for new beliefs to form within your mind and your subconscious so that you can stay consistent in that new self-perception. And a lot of you guys know I like to call this your portfolio of proof. The more things that you do that you thought you could never do, after having a few of those experiences, the next time you are nervous, the next time you have self-doubt, the next time you think, oh my God, I can't do that, or oh my God, I can't speak to that person, you have this mental portfolio in your mind that, wait, but last week I did that thing that I was afraid to do and I survived. I didn't only survive, I thrived. I conquered that. Every single thing that I thought I couldn't do, I stepped out the other side stronger, smarter, and wiser. And so over time, this portfolio encourages you to keep stepping into these environments more. And within a few months, you won't even recognize who you were before. And I don't mean that in the sense of having to become a new person or leaving your authenticity behind. I mean it in the sense of undoing all of the obstacles, undoing all of the self-imposed limits that you have placed on yourself, all of that inner criticism, undoing all of the pressures and the expectations other people placed on you growing up that you assumed were your own and distracted you from your real vision and your real, truest, highest potential. True self-obsession isn't about staring at yourself in the mirror all day. True self-obsession is about going inwards. It's about identifying, where am I limiting myself? Where am I not serving myself? Where am I putting obstacles in my way to prevent myself from living the life that I truly deserve? While the Independent warns that, quote, self-focus robs us of community, compassion, and our ability to be happy, they ignore that that very process helps you identify your own authentic needs. And when you understand what you need and what serves you, that means that you attract better relationships, the right relationships that actually align to you, which means you can show up as a better partner and as a better friend in those relationships. Because not once have I ever said that self-obsession is about the disregard for other people. It's about putting yourself first and working on yourself whilst you're also building real, authentic, high-value relationships so that while you're healing and while you're working on yourself, you're also showing up as the best version of yourself to everybody else in your life. And I think that's the kindest thing that you can do, which is why I have always, for years, hated the question and the argument that people immediately and automatically say when I talk about self-obsession, which is, but what if you're selfish? The two just don't go together. And this links us into number 2, the boundary law. Because the article also went on to say, if we take self-compassion too far, it can promote selfishness and self-obsession. What about compassion for others? And I see this misinformation and this misunderstanding about boundaries all the time. People see it as a punishment to other people. People see it as only ever caring about your needs and nobody else's. But boundaries are actually the kindest, most considerate thing you can do for the people in your life. Why? Because the opposite action would be to never say anything, to hold in your genuine feelings, then therefore build up resentment for somebody you genuinely care about and not allow that person to be able to authentically show up for you because they're not even aware of your needs yet, because you have not communicated them. Boundaries are always mistaken as this emotional wall which is covered in aggression, but really it's exactly where true connection and empathy is built. between people in a friendship or a relationship or in a family setting. By understanding your limits and communicating that with your loved ones, you allow them to actually show up for you and vice versa. And I spoke about this a lot in my book, Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, where I have an entire chapter on boundary setting for this very reason. Because if we were to flip the script and if you found out your friend was annoyed at you because of something that you kept doing unintentionally, because we can't be perfect 100% of the time, you would want them to tell you. You would want them to say, hey, this is a limit, or this makes me feel uncomfortable, or this is crossing a boundary for me. I don't like this. This is putting a strain on our relationship. You would hope and you would pray and you would wish for them to communicate that with you so that you could show up as a better friend to them. So why can't other people do that for us? I think boundary setting also really links into establishing an abundance mindset. Learning to say no without guilt and lengthy explanations, yes, teaches other people how to treat you, but also it reinforces the belief that you do not need to overexert yourself or burn yourself out or make yourself suffer just to earn other people's care and respect. Because you not setting boundaries is you just conforming to other people's needs and their validation and the way that they want to run their lives, while simultaneously abandoning your own. 3, the celebration law. Celebrating yourself is so crucial, and yet everybody treats it like an option. And the true, thriving, self-obsessed baddies consistently do this. I'm all here for actively documenting your life and celebrating every small achievement. I'm talking so small on the scale that you didn't want to go to the gym today, but you did it for 5 minutes. That is such a win. Look at you still leaving the house and showing up for yourself, showing up for your goals in whatever capacity you had that day. But no, most people are gonna be like, that wasn't good enough. That's still considered a failure. You didn't complete the full workout, so you shouldn't be feeling any sort of goodness about yourself. Or on a larger scale, even after you complete every single milestone, a lot of people keep moving the finishing line, the destination for themselves. So after achieving one thing that their younger self prayed for, there's very little celebration and it's like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And your life is like an endless chase for self-validation and happiness that you just consistently refuse to provide for yourself. Within this law, I've always said joy is your birthright. But this article wants to question whether happiness is really a universal, fundamental human right, which I think is so damaging to the people who have worked so hard to get to where they are and then still have this sustained inner belief that it's still not enough. That you need to be able to earn happiness, that you need to wait for happiness. Happiness is a choice that you get to decide to make every single day. Happiness is the fuel that gets you out of bed every single morning. No matter what situation you're in, no matter where you're from, no matter what you do, it is absolutely your birthright. And the best part about it is you don't need to ask anybody for it. It's already all within your hands and your power to give yourself permission to live joyfully today. It's all about subconscious wiring, remember? It's all about your belief system. I've spoken about this so many times. It's about getting it into your head that you are deserving of every victory. You are deserving of all of the happy, positive emotions. You are deserving of still loving yourself on your hardest days. 4, the upgrade law. One thing I found on my journey in the process of working on my self-worth was a really easy addition into the process of mastering that was upgrading everything in my environment, everything around me, the clothes that I choose to put on my body that day, the way that I get dressed, the way that I do my hair. Putting myself in full glam makes me feel luxurious, makes me feel like the best version of myself. That's just my personal preference and opinion. You might be completely different. Maybe you thrive in wearing your athletic clothes every day or just being comfortable and cozy. That's absolutely fine. Everybody's different, but what's always the same is everybody's external surroundings can directly impact their internal sense of value and also the state of their mind. So I think it's so important to regularly evaluate your living space, your friends, your relationships, your routines, the clutter you might be holding on to, ensuring that they consistently resonate with the person that you're growing into, that you're evolving into, that it still aligns with the new beliefs and the morals and the lifestyle that you are adopting as you're shedding your old self and stepping into a higher version of yourself that starts to meet your full potential. I'm a huge believer that sometimes we hold on to things that anchor us to an old identity. Maybe it could be something that an ex-boyfriend gave us. Maybe it could be an old piece of clothing that we wore consistently at a certain phase of our lives. Oh my God, guys, the amount of perfumes I've had to throw away because it reminds me of when I was in school or when I was in university and I didn't want to be triggered to that point in my life. I want to focus on building my future. I want to focus on living in the present. It sounds really small and insignificant, but it really does all add up. And of course, I always say all of this surface level stuff is always paired with also working on your internal monologue. That is really where you make the biggest strides in working on your self-worth. You need to regularly practice forgiving yourself for old mistakes, not being your biggest hater and constantly criticizing yourself with every decision you make. You need to acknowledge your journey. You need to embark on a journey of self-discovery. You need to release any emotional burdens. You need to thank yourself and give yourself flowers for the lessons you've learned, for the journey that you've been on, for how far you've come. It's not vanity, it's a declaration of your inherent value. And while people might take this the wrong way and argue that, quote, the new powerful version of your best self can't possibly be manifested without splurging on fashion, makeup, and homewares, remember that the certain material upgrades that you want to splurge on and that you want to experience are not something to be ashamed of. They are just as powerful in this journey of self-development. Even the clothes, even the makeup can be anchors that pull you in the wrong or the right direction. I've experienced that myself. Even the way I decorate my home, even my closet that I built for myself signals to me the woman that I've always wanted to become. Every single time I walk into this room, it's like a thank you to my younger self. It's a, I did this for you, because I get to sit in such a gorgeous room and I put the effort into this and I built this. And finally, the rewire law. This is my favorite law, and I actually have quite a few dedicated videos on this topic on my channel if you want to look into it further. But essentially, it's about pouring so much focus and dedication into reshaping your internal narratives to serve your higher self. Because true self-obsession requires breaking the societal conditioning that labels self-focus as selfishness. It is simply not true. It requires deliberate daily practice to break apart the outdated conditioning that you may have experienced and instead rewire and reinsert new empowering beliefs that get you to where you want to be, that get you to the daily feeling and the mindset that you want to be experiencing every day. And the most efficient way to do this is to first raise your awareness of how you might be feeling, how you might be placing obstacles in your path without even realizing it, how you might be putting yourself down and affecting your confidence, and really taking those apart and understanding where do they come from. Is it because of something that somebody said to me one day in school and I adopted that as my own internal narrative and my authentic truth, when that really isn't the case? That is more reflective of their character and their life and their biases and their view on the world and their opinions. And all of a sudden, I'm carrying it with me throughout my life. Even just journaling about this and really taking the time to evaluate it and understand the meaning of it and whether it actually aligns to who you are and your authenticity and your values helps you realize, actually, this doesn't align with me whatsoever and this feels stupid, and it helps you detach from it so that instead you can decide the new beliefs that you want to adopt. Once you've raised your awareness of any current limiting beliefs that you may be holding, I want you to write down each one of those limiting beliefs on a piece of paper and then next to it write evidence disproving and disqualifying it so that your subconscious mind can finally let it go as truth. And then I want you to engage in positive affirmations. I want you to visualize to be able to reinforce the new, empowering, confidence-boosting beliefs that you desire. This is a real, scientifically backed practice. It's called neuroplasticity. You can look into it. In driving this much attention to yourself, the article did claim that it's the worst thing you can do for your well-being. But I'm here to tell you it's the best thing you can do. This active mental rewiring helps you break out of the mental prisons that you may have been stuck in your entire life because of people that didn't serve you, parents that didn't treat you right, friends that could have given you insecurities. It could all be the reason why you're experiencing anxiety and insecurities. This intentional reframing to adopt more empowering narratives is the best thing you could do for yourself. You are finally going to shed everything that's been holding you down and making you small, fitting into this tiny little box where you can't even take up space and be yourself, to finally be the person that you always wanted to be and thought you never could be. It's really as simple as that. It's about transforming your mind from being your biggest sabotager to your most loyal ally. And that is all I have to say. In conclusion, the only reason I wanted to make this video is not because of the article and not because I'm annoyed that they wrote about this about me. Honestly, it's expected. I chose the word self-obsessed as my brand for a reason. I knew it was gonna get people's attention. I knew some people were gonna find it controversial, and I knew people were going to jump to misunderstand it without actually listening to the way that I'm changing the narrative and pointing people's attention at the focus on self-love. Despite all of that, I made this video because even without the news outlets, there are going to be people in your life that are going to hate your confidence and that are going to try to tear you down because of it, and that are going to want to make you play small. It could be your own family and friends that are encouraging you to do this. I made this video so that when you have those weak moments, when you feel like everyone's against you, when you feel like you're being too much or loving yourself too much, no such thing, by the way. I want you to come back to this video and I want you to remember your power, and I want you to remember you are doing the best possible favor for yourself, and you are gonna find people who appreciate that about you because they're doing the same thing for themselves. And that's who you're gonna align and attract into your life. Forget everybody else, forget these outdated ideas of being too selfish just because you're finally making your own decisions and putting yourself first and making sure your own cup is full before you start serving others. That's literally, quite literally, the bare minimum of the self-love and self-help world. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please comment down below, let me know what helped and if anything in particular stood out. I love you so much. Keep being strong, keep working on yourself, keep loving yourself, and I'll see you same time next week for a brand new video. Mwah!